Hello, and welcome to Tuesday Night Live. My name is Betty Sikosha. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and the team leader for the Power of Positive Inking. Thanks for joining me tonight, or whenever it is that you are watching me. Thank you, thank you. The clock behind me has not worked in months, so that's not an accurate time, but it's somewhere around 7 o'clock, and that's normally the time that I am on most Tuesdays. Okay, so tonight I wanted to talk to you about I wanted to make a card with you that is considered, in my mind, is considered simple stamping. Stampin' Up! Challenges us often to do something called simple stamping because the more you create, the more stuff you want to add to a card. So this kind of tells you to put on the brakes, take it back, and make it a little bit simpler and quicker. So this card I think is very simple and relatively quick, and I'll just stop talking and show you. How's that? Okay, I'm gonna flip you down. Whoa. I don't know what happened to that stand there. Okay, let me do this and then flip you down. Hello, Jody. Thanks for joining me. Okay, so what I am, the stamp set that I'm going to be using tonight is actually a bundle. If you know anything about me, I love birds. So they had me at Bird. It's called Sweet Songbirds. I would have bought it. But then, just to confirm my love for this set, they threw in a punch. I love anything with a punch. So birds and a punch, and I was sold. They are really cute birds. Stampin' Up! Has had a number of birds in their catalog through the years that are a little bit more realistic looking, but these are just some fun birds. So I've got a little, well, let me show you what I'm going to do. So I decided that I was going to try and make some note cards from this. And so note cards come with envelopes and clearly the cards. That's how they get their name, note cards and envelopes. I don't even know where the thinking about Bob on here to give you the code, but let me show you where you can find them in the catalog. They are found on page 137. A lot of things on page 137 can go missing. Not missing, but can be overlooked. Or not just on 137. Some of the smaller things in the back can be overlooked. So this is what I'm talking about. It's the note cards and envelopes. They come in very vanilla or basic white. And they're $7 and you get 20 cards with 20 envelopes. You can mail these for the same price that you mail anything for, which is handy. Even though they're a little bit smaller, they mail fine. So that's what I'm using tonight, along with the Sweet Songbird bundle, which includes a stamp set and the punch. When you purchase the two of these together, you actually save 10%. So that's a good deal. And trust me, you're going to want both. So let me show you the stamp set to begin with. It's got a bunch of greetings, two birds going in different directions, a variety of eyes, a nest, a sign or something else, a string or something else, branches, leaves, and a bunch of greetings. Welcome, congratulations. You've got something to celebrate. So happy you're here. It's your special day. A little bird, you told me, a note of thanks. Oh, and notes, and wings and bellies. So there's a variety of things in this set. You can do a ton with it. What I'm going to do tonight is pretty basic, but I've seen people do some really other interesting things. And if you're into Angry Birds, you can make Angry Birds out of this. I'm not into Angry Birds, but they really did look like Angry Birds. What I have seen created with that. Okay, so I'm going to start with my very simple stamping, and I am going to, this cardstock comes scored, so you just need to give it a nice tight crease. Sometimes I find that I need to kind of line up my edges. Let me see if I can show you here. Maybe not. So, and you see it's not exactly straight to begin with. My camera does not want to zoom. It does not. There we go. It's not exactly straight. So I just kind of line up my edge like so, pushing it together. And then, let me see if I can unzoom you. Not with one hand, I can't. Woo! Super zoom. Okay, so I just line up my two edges together, and then I take my bone folder and really give it a nice tight crease. And that's pretty straight. Hello, Debbie and Terry. Teresa. Why did I call you Terry? I don't even know where that came from. Sorry about that, my friend. Okay, so I'm going to start with this here. And this is a little signpost that you can put your words on. It looks like this in the stamp set. And then a bunch of these words would fit on there, which is really cute. But I'm going to do things a little bit different, and I'm going to make it a fence. So I am going to use... Oops. Thought I was prepared. I'm going to use my crumb cake for this. So I am going to take my image and stamp it maybe about, I don't know, I'm going to guess that's about a 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to turn it around. And the reason I'm doing that is every other post I want to be, I don't want them to look exactly the same. And I'm okay if some of them go high because this isn't really supposed to be a, you know, don't worry about this being an exact fancy fence. This is just a little fun fence. I've lost track of if I had flipped that or not. Okay, so there's my fence, which is kind of a little bit wonky, and that's okay with me. I was going for a wonky look. Looks like I got to add just a little bit more there on the end. Okay, now to make it a real fence, I'm actually going to use these eyeballs. So, well, I guess these eyeballs. It could be anything you want, but they're not going to be eyeballs right now. So I'm going to stamp... Actually, I'm going to make life easier for me. I'm going to keep switching my... taking off my stamps and switching my blocks. Because I have a lot of blocks, but there's a lot of stamps in this. So this is what your average person would be doing anyhow, is switching these off. So what I'm going to do is put, let me zoom you in a little bit here. I'm adding these, I don't know, nails. I don't know anything about making a fence, but this is what I'm adding. So I'm just doing this crumb cake on crumb cake and just putting it right between each post. And if the post goes up, I'm just tipping my thing a little bit, like so. So now we have what looks like a fence post. All right, let's get that out of the way. And let's get going on our bird. Okay, well, actually, before the bird, let's do this. I'm going to do really quickly. I'm just going to add a little bit of blue sky. So I'm using my balmy blue. You could use any blue, or you could leave it really blank. I did say I was making this simple stamping, and then I'm proceeding to actually add in all sorts of things, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm just going to make my sky blue by adding some balmy blue with my blending brush. And like most of the time, the sky doesn't have to be one solid color. That does happen in real life where it becomes one solid color, but I do think that even when that happens, you're like kind of amazed, like, wow, look at the sky. So when it's not one solid color, it looks like this. It's a little bit blotchy, and that's okay. All right, done with that. Put that aside. Okay, now for the bird. So I wanted to give you a helpful hint on how I like to do this. So this bird, this punch, comes with different parts. Let me show you this side. Okay, so this is the bird body, and I'm going to call you what I think it is. I think that's a wing. I think that's a wing, but it could also be a leaf, and that is a beak, I believe. That's how they were intended to go, but you can make them into lots of different things, and so that's what I'm going to call these pieces. But in order to maximize your stamping time and minimize your aggravation, we're going to stamp this all at once. So in order to stamp it all at once, to get it on the block, what I have done is that I punched, let's see if I can zoom that for you. I punched out, nope, this way. I punched out, using dark paper, I just punched out these images here. If you use dark paper, it's going to make it easier for you to do the next step of this, which is to line this up. So we're going to take each piece of this stamp, or this punch. We're going to take the stamps that fit the punch parts and place them into the negative space of the punch. Does that make sense? With a positive place? I don't know if it's the positive or negative. The space that is now left from where you punched. And like I said, if you're using dark paper, it makes it easier for you to see. I'm not going to bother doing the beak because I don't want my beak to be this color. I'm going to use Orchid. I almost called it Orchid Opulence. Orchid Oasis. I've been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator a long time. And some things die hard. Speaking of Die Hard, I heard the movie is great. I have not seen it, but I did hear it was great. No, not Die Hard. I was thinking, what's the new one? The new old Tom Cruise movie? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I didn't see it. Okay, so I placed all of these in here. Top Gun. That's what I was thinking. Die Hard. Top Gun. Okay, so now I placed that in there. Now I'm putting it on my block. So when I pick it up, it should be theoretically placed exactly where I need it to be. So I'm going to bring in my paper piercing mat to go ahead and stamp my image. I am using Orchid Oasis. Sometimes you call it Orchid Opulence. Okay, you don't. But this is going to make a beautiful colored bird. Ugh. Okay, see all those bubbles? It's because it's too juicy. I've talked about this before. If you're not sure, you can go back and watch the video on that. But if you take your, you can't, maybe you can see now. I'm pushing all the ink back into the ink pad, which is actually making the ink pad look like it's a lighter color. But it's going to stamp much better. All right, so now I'm taking what is very blotchy. I'm going to ink it up again, and it's much less blotchy. Plus, I saved my ink for another time. All right, so let's go ahead and stamp this. Hi, Sandy. Welcome. Look at that bird. Woo, love him. Now, hopefully this works. So I have placed the stamp exactly where I need it to be. Just going to finagle this a smidge. And punch. So this punches 4 things. I don't need this beak, so I can get rid of that. But these 3 pieces I definitely need. So I'm going to use those and push that aside for now. All right, now I want to put my bird feet on here. I want to make sure, because this has to fit in an envelope, I want to make sure that my bird is not too far over to the side. So I'm going to put his feet somewhere in here, which will put him, her, can't tell, in a perfect spot. So I don't know why, but I have been using black feet every time I make a bird. I think that their feet are probably more orangey, but whatever. It's not a real bird anyway, so let's not fret about that. Okay, so I have his feet on there, and I'm going to color him up just a smidge with some blends. Now, because I did this with our ink, our regular ink, I can use my blends and it's not going to bleed, which is really handy. Okay, so I'm using, what am I using? Dark Petal Pink. It's the worst name Stampin' Up! Color because it's not pink at all. It's definitely peach. It should be called Dark Petal Peach. But it's not. Okay, so I'm putting that on the bottom. Let me zoom in so you can see. And then I'm using Light Petal Pink, or Petal Peach. Maybe we could start a campaign to change the name. And I'm just kind of blending right over the spot where the dark was so that as it blends, it's going to kind of blend. Hence the name. Okay, so I'm going to use these eyeballs, which are like sleeping eyeballs. I'm going to use those. Let me put these aside that I used for my fence post. And I'm going to use black. And these eyes look like they're going to be too far apart, right? Doesn't that look a little goofy? If you think this looks goofy, you should see just the solid ball eyes. They look even goofier. But then when you put it down and you take it away, they're perfect. They're exactly as they should be. Apparently, someone knew what they were doing for sure. Okay, so this piece here also could go here. You could punch it and it could be the belly of your bird. But I'm going to use it as a wing. So I'm going to glue it right over here on this side. Actually, I'm going to put my glue right on my wing so I can move it around. And I'm a big fan of the green glue because I like to move it around and make it end up where I want it to be. Oh, perfect. Perfect. And then this little wing, we might as well stick on a dimensional. Like so. This color, while I thought it was very purpley, I think it has a very, very pretty, very much like a bluebird of happiness feel to this color combination. That's what I was going for. All right, so that is going to go right there. And why not? Let's put them on dimensionals. Dimensionals are cheap, so use them. I feel like I don't even know. I don't know for sure. Something like a penny each. So let's use one more. That's definitely 4 cents. That is worth, this is worth 4 cents more to raise my bird right up. Okay, so I'm going to put that right there. He's fitting fine, perfectly. And now I'm going to bring in my musical notes and my Memento ink. And it's funny because a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator that I know that's very into music was over the other day, and I asked her what these notes sounded like. She told me, but I can't remember. I don't know. It was really cool though. That's amazing to me when you can look at that and it makes sense to you in another language of music. I'm going to use the greeting, a little note of thanks, because I think it's really quite cute. So let me use this on here. And I am going to do it in the orchid, because I think it'll pop this out nicely. Oh, don't ever put your ink pad under your elbow. Under your wrist. It will go poorly. Okay. Okay, so this could be done if you want it to be. I am going to add just a smidge, couple extra things because I want to. But you could stop right here and this card could be done and fine, right? I'm going to add in some branches, some tree branches, and I'm using soft suede for these. And I'm going to do one going in that direction, one going in that direction. Close this up. I'm going to bring in some Granny Apple Green. I think that leaves at this time of year look Granny Apple Green. I think as leaves start to grow on trees, eventually they end up changing color, but I really feel like this time of year they seem very, very bright. Very, very Granny Apple greenish. Okay, and I'm going to throw in a couple more. So, How about over here, as if they're coming from another branch? That's good. And over here, let's put them right about, sure. Doesn't matter. Does it matter? Here, let's put this up here. Okay, great. So it's a just a bunch of leaves on the tree. All right, so that is a really, really simple, I'm calling it simple because the only thing that really was added to it was using a punch and a couple of dimensionals, and I would definitely call that a simple stamping card. I did do a slightly different color, so I did a previous one with a yellow belly, and he was, oh, I forgot my beak. What was I thinking of? Oh, people, what was I thinking? Okay, you could color in the beak with a marker. You could use this little stamp. There's a little stamp right here. That is a beak. Or you could use the punch. Now, the thing about the punch is this does make a lot of paper poop. But what I recommend is if you can use just the side of the, just a strip of paper and you can just put that in and just get a bunch of beaks. If you were cutting out beaks, I would just cut out a bunch of beaks. So I'm keeping like a little old container. Brads, remember those? Wow, that's old. A little container of bird body parts that I wasn't using. So I've got a variety of different color beaks to use here and a couple different color wings. But I do like the little bit softer. This is Mango Melody, but I feel like it's a little too bright for this guy. I don't know. What's your opinion? I think it's too bright. It's not that I'm not going to listen to your opinion, but I do think it's too bright. So I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to bring in the So Saffron. And I did. I think I got a little green on there from a leaf. Whatever. It's fine. Okay, so now I'm going to use my, here, let me show you how using your picky tool for this is awesome. So this is pick a tool. It's not a picky tool part that I'm using. It's the sticky part. And it allows you to put your beak exactly where you want it to be. La. Okay, so that is it. Here is my previous card that I was just about to show you. What did I do with it? Yellow belly. Here we go. Okay, so here's a yellow belly one. And this was the exact same thing. I didn't have any branches that I put on it. I just threw that in like that. And it's a very simple card, but so, so sweet. And then this one, obviously, I added a little tree in there. I wanted to show you this because this was kind of ridiculous of me. I did do these darker, and then I decided I liked those lighter. So I changed that out. But I put a bird on the inside, and I thought, how smart am I putting a little bird on the inside? But look what happens. When you color that little bird's belly on the other side, you can see that you colored that bird's belly. But I was thinking if I will still send this card, and I would just put a note like, obviously homemade. Obviously. Anyway, comes from the heart, right? All right, so this is my simple stamping card for this evening, done with the note cards and envelopes that can be found at the end of the catalog on page 137. And they're $7 for 20 of them. So that is a real bargain. And then the stamp set and punch together sell for $34, and they can be found on page 31 of the catalog. So let me flip you around and check quickly. Whoops, it's my ceiling. Whoop. Okay, so if you are, if you're watching this on May 31st, hang on one second. Okay, there we go. If you're watching this on May 31st, it is the last day that you can take advantage of this special going on, which is a new what are we calling it? An in color bundle, I guess we're calling it. So if you sign up to join Stampin' Up! Today, by the end of today, for $99, you will get $125, anything you want. So if this stamp set was something, if this bundle was something that's of interest to you, you can get that. Anything you want, anything in the catalog you can get for $125, including anything on the clearance rack. So you can really stock up on that those kinds of things and get a real bargain. In addition, you get the 5 new in-color ink pads, 5 new, or a package of assorted in-color cardstock, as well as in color designer series paper, 6x6 paper that has a variety of patterns on it. So, and you get a paper pumpkin as well, which is an all-inclusive craft kit. So it's a real bargain, and something like $206 worth of stuff for $99. So why not, right? Why not, I say. So if you're interested in doing that, just go to the demonstrator who brought you here. If you go to her website, you will be able to go ahead and sign up and take care of all of that tonight. But that special does end tonight. So think quick, act quickly. There's no downside to it. So why not? Why not, I say. So that's that. If there's anything that you are interested in purchasing, please go to the demonstrator who brought you here. If I'm your demonstrator or you're looking for a demonstrator, just be in touch with me and I'll be more than happy to help you out. All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I'll see you hopefully next Tuesday. Bye-bye.